Okay, so we are on SAP screen. Currently, today we are going to the process of SAP RTP. What is RTP? Oh, and what does RTP mean? So I'll be telling you how to manage RTP processes. So RTP is nothing but returnable transport packaging. So we already have a document for RTP process. So I'll be sharing you the same. You can also find this on the Google Drive. We'll share that after the session. Okay, so RTP is nothing but your returnable transport packaging that has a packaging medium, for example, pellets or containers. Okay, and what happens is it has to be transported from more than one vendor or customer. So let's say I'll give you an example of this. So you might know about gas cylinders. Okay, so what happens in gas cylinders? Let's go to images. When you transport gas, okay, let's say you're having nitrogen gas or ammonia gas. So ammonia gas is used in the filtration process of the water in power plants. So, so when you use the ammonia gas, you might have heard about the Bayer reaction. Okay, so nitrogen N2 is used in that, and H2 is made out of it. So it is a process that we have all gone through in the curriculum of our BTech first year. So when you have to transport some material that cannot be transported without the packaging, then we use the RTP process. So RTP is nothing but, in simple term, it means that the packaging of the material has to be returned after the material has been consumed. Okay, so let's say I have these cylinders of ammonia gas or nitrogen gas. Now the the cylinder has some separate cost. Okay, this cost, I am not buying the cylinder, I am buying the material inside the cylinder. So the material can be our uh, it can be our gas product. So we can customize the material type in OMS2 for the material types. However, when we have standard materials like consumable ZCNS or CNS, this I have created custom movement types as ZCNS. Okay, so when you have a custom material types, then we can consume those material types or the raw products as gases, and we can create a separate material for the RTP process. In RTP, what happens? We don't need to create any PO for this. We will not create any PO in the system for RTP materials. We'll only create the material under the material type as LEIH. So you remember the standard material types that I said uh, in the starting of the sessions, phase one. We had shared uh, the documentation for standard material types. So there was one material known as material type known as LEIH. If you don't remember, you can go back and have a look at it. So what happens in RTP processes? It is very difficult to send these materials without packaging. Let's assume that you have oxygen cylinders. Okay, so you know that our Earth is 21 or 23% oxygen. I cannot uh, I cannot send you oxygen without a packaging, or I cannot send you some water or milk cans or oil containers without any packaging. I have to put some packaging around that. But since it is the vendor's property, or it is under the ownership of vendor, we cannot have any accounting. So for these materials under the material type LEIH, will not have any valuation update. So the valuation update for these materials, packaging material, will be unchecked. However, there will be uh, there will be some cost on the quantity. We'll keep the quantity for our inventory tracking purposes, and will not update the value. So we'll not update the value because these materials are very expensive, right? Okay. One second, let me add somebody's there. Okay. Okay, so Shuna, we just started. You can follow on. Okay, so these materials are expensive. We need to transfer it via the packaging. And when the item is consumed or the material is consumed, let's say your oxygen is consumed, then you need to return these cylinders so they can be refilled and they can be reutilized based on our consumption process. So we'll be starting with how to create a material. Okay, so then this is a material that is your RTP material, LEIH. So I'll tell you what LEIH is. So I'll start with the SAP screens. Please ask your doubt if you have any. Then we'll start in SAP. Are you clear with the process of RTP? What RTP is?
Aman, this is Subramaniam. Can you please tell me one more time when will be the RTP used and what is RTP one more time? Because at the starting I had some audio issues.
Sure. I'll explain. Okay. So what happens in RTP, as I said, there are some materials like oxygen cylinders, nitrogen cylinders, your milk or the oil containers, or let's say you have. I'll give you a real life example. Okay. So
Okay,
you go to a shop of this egg seller. Okay. So the egg seller will give you some eggs. Can you
okay.
bring it? Can you bring 100 eggs without the crates?
No,
No, right? They'll
no.
break.
Yes,
So the
yes.
material that will break or they cannot be transported without the packaging. They are transported via the RTP process. And okay, so for the crates, let's say you're having the plastic crates, or okay, in the plastic crates you need to return it, but for the paper and all, it's not a mandatory return. But that is not a proper example. That is a real life example. Okay, so to explain that the material is fragile, I give that. But in real life, when somebody asks, always use oxygen cylinders, nitrogen cylinders, gas cylinders like that. So these are the real life examples in an industry, manufacturing industry, where you'll use. So I gave example of ammonia gas that is used to create your end product as DM water.
Okay,
Okay, so you filter out the water and you make it DM, so it can be used in the uh, power generation for boilers. Okay, so what happens with these materials is these materials are a part of our inventory because as a, we as end user have let's say our client has taken up materials of cylinders, let's say 100 cylinders. Okay, so we had a 10 liter capacity. Now we wanted some gas that is uh, okay, so it's 1000 liters, right? So now we have 1 kiloliter of gas with us for some process, XYZ process. Now what happens in our plant is we have to return those cylinders, right?
yes, yeah,
So when we took those 100 cylinders, we want to return it. So the movement type will be 501 M. So M means returnable transport packaging. It will be auto selected. Everything will be auto. This process is very simple. It is just based on your understanding of the process. So it will only happen when you have something that is needed to be returned to the vendor that comes in the packaging.
okay,
Okay.
okay, yeah, sure.
Right.
Thanks, thank you.
Okay. So here they have started with MM01, but I want to brief you about what material type you'll use. They have given in the end. I'm not sure uh, of the sequence, so I'm telling it how I feel it'll be more simpler to you. So since we are in the SPRO screen, I can directly go to OMS2. I think you guys might be practicing. Okay, display log data. Okay, so this is OMS2. OMS2 is for material types. If you want, we can go by the SPRO path, but it will be time taking. So the material type is LEIH. This is standard SAP material type. Okay, you'll find everything in the PDF. The PDF is very elaborative, but the sequence is reversed. Okay, so we have standard material type called LEIH. There's a SAP note regarding this in which SAP best practices says that you don't need to customize it. You can only use this one. Okay, LEIH is standard for all projects. So this will be this configuration will be preset in your system. You didn't need to reconfigure it. Okay, this is standard SAP type, metal type. So when you go to quantity slash value updating, you can find your own company code. Okay, so it's loading. Okay, so we can go to our alpha company code ALPL. Okay, ALPL is here. 1 second. Okay, as I told you before, since this is the liability of the vendor, by liability I mean that the vendor is the owner of these cylinders. Okay, so we bought the gas. Let's say the capacity of the cylinder is 100 kgs, or so let's say 10 kgs. Okay, and the cylinder is weighing around 12 kgs. So the 2 kg of the material, that is of the packaging. So we will only count the 10 kg of the material. Let's say I'll give you one example. Where's that note? Okay, new document. Now we have 10 kgs of gas to be consumed. Okay, and total weight of cylinder with gas is, let's say, 15 kgs. Okay, now we will pay for we'll pay only for 15 minus 10. Oh, sorry, 15. Okay, we'll only pay for 10 kgs, right? Total weight of cylinder with gas is 15. Total gas is 10 kg. So we'll only pay for 10 kg. The rest is our 5 kg of material, that is of packaging. Now we'll return. We'll return the packaging of the material, that is the cylinder. So say cylinder is needed to be returned by RTP. Okay, so RTP, standard material type is LEIH in OMS2. Okay, so in OMS2, what you need to do? OMS2, make sure that, like what we saw here, that the quantity is updated, but value is not. Why this is there? Because the ownership, the current ownership of this uh, materials with the vendor. It is not our ownership. We have just received this material. We will pay, will consume it, and the ownership will remain with the vendor only. Okay, the quantity update tick should be done, and no valuation update. Okay, just this. This is the whole process. This is the whole crux of the process. Now, since we know that we have this material type, we'll go and create one material. Okay, so I already created one material with 1980, but I'll show you again. So we selected mechanical engineering, the LEH that I said, returnable packaging, and we'll go to the OR levels. Okay, ALPL. The store location I have selected because we need to make store location data available. If I don't do this, this is a prerequisite. Okay, if I don't make the store location data available, the 501 movement type that I mentioned, movement type 501, it is an automatic movement type without the PO. Okay, so we'll do a GR without the PO. So we need store location data, otherwise this will not work. It will throw error that the material uh, cannot be updated, or cannot have GR on the store location because it is not extended. So I'll unselect everything. I'll select the basic data. I'll select purchasing, PO text. In purchasing is also not needed, but I'm doing it anyways. General store location, this is mandatory, and accounting one is mandatory. Sorry, accounting one. Okay, so we'll go tick, again tick. Now I have used Tata brand some polish box because the material that we were using in the PO already had some material. So I'll also make PO after this. So let's say this is a polish box or uh, polish pellets pellet box.